All right, let's do a preview for the upcoming season. Let's start off with pitching. Coming back from, talk a little bit about the returning players, your sophomores this season.
We got a couple key guys coming back this year. We got Hugo Lalone, which pitched for us last year and did real well late in the season for us. Got Stewart coming back. Stewart also pitched real well, threw some critical innings in the regional as well. Cody Downing, our closer from last year, will be back. Another good arm. Has improved his arm strength quite a bit from last year and is actually throwing the ball a lot harder. Mickey Bullard is back with us and really had a good summer this year, and we're looking to be able to get a lot more innings out of him this year. Jesse Elam, another returner that will pitch for us, possibly in many roles as a starter, maybe out of the pen. We're just going to have to see where that goes during the season. Am I missing anybody on that?
I was trying to check them off as you were going. A little mental check, but I'm with you now.
But, I mean, most of the guys we have come back going to provide pretty critical roles, and then we went out and we also recruited some more pitchers, and some of the guys we have coming in are pretty good. We got two twins out of California that we're looking to get a bunch of innings out of. Really good kids, really hard workers.
They're both throwing.
Both pitchers. One had been pitching a little bit longer than the other, but the younger, or I guess they're the same, Adam, the one who's younger in his pitching career, has actually progressed pretty good. We have, I'm trying to think. King, another lefty out of Edmond.
How many lefties do you have on the squad?
We got three.
Three or four.
Three or four. A couple that we're looking to really step in and hopefully help contribute. We got Colombe, who is a pitcher out of Canada who really had a good fall for us. Multiple pitch guy, good velocity, and is a competitor and a really hard worker. But
You say multiple pitch guy. Do you have a lot of pitchers who bring several different pitches to the team? I mean, do you have some more specialized throwers than you have a lot of well-rounded players as far as pitching goes?
most all of our pitchers are multiple pitch. We don't have, last year we had Villanueva who really relied on a heavy sinking fastball and could throw it most of the time and have no problem throwing the game with not throwing any breaking pitches. But this year, most guys have a pretty good changeup and a breaking ball to go with their fastball. So
all of them have pretty good repertoire then.
All of them have, yeah. Pretty well-rounded when it comes to pitch selection.
As far as the sophomore pitchers go, any of them stepping up in the leadership roles?
We got several guys. This has been a really good year. This year, leadership on the staff, everybody's been hardworking. Most of them are self-motivated, and the group just seems to grow on the work ethic of each other. I'm looking forward to Evan Mott to step up, and I think he's going to provide one, and the other Mott brothers going to be there with him. But really, honestly, I think that the leadership is going to be throughout the whole staff.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the rest of the team, if you would.
Well, just to kind of finish off a little bit of what we're talking about with the pitching staff, there's a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. It's one of those unique years where you go, well, that guy could be your ace. Well, that guy can be your ace. And you can go about 6 or 7 deep. There's just enough sophomore returners that have been kind of down the battles with you, been in the battles, been down that road with you, with Hugo and Mickey Bullard.
So you're happy with the depth then?
The depth is really good. The guy we missed, Zach Porath, is a left-hander we transferred out of Missouri Southern. Porath could be the ace. He could be the guy now. We got some issues with the back right now. We're hoping that we get good news the next couple of days on how that back is. It may take him out for the year. It may take him out for 6 weeks. It may not do anything. But he's had some issues with his back. And he talked about Cologne, and Cologne's a young man out of Quebec, Canada that's as good as any of those guys. King's a young man out of Edmond that has a little bit of development. Culp's a transfer out of Murray State University that's coming in off an arm injury, and he is just now catching up. Kohler's a right-hander out of Cal State Fullerton that's trying to kind of rejuvenate his pitching career. You just can keep on going with Bonner and Gibson and there's so many guys. We're not going to be able to hit on all of them. To make the short story long, it's a good pitching staff. It's a deep pitching staff. It's going to be a versatile pitching staff. There's not a lot of one-dimensional guys. If one guy goes down, it's not going to kill us. If 5 guys go down, there's still hope, And so you can weather some of that failure storm that you're going to have with some of the freshmen, and you can deal with some injuries or some guys that may get sore during the season and not feel like you lose a lot, where you jeopardize 5 or 6 games or a couple series in a row because your pitching depth wasn't very good. It's the most depth we've had here since I've been here, and it may not be the most talented group overall we've had here. I don't know yet, because the 04 ball club had 4 Division I aces come out of it, and so does it have the potential to be that good? It does. It really does. So we're excited about where it is and where Coach is going to take that group. He's done a great job with the pitching staff, as good a pitching coach as there is in junior college baseball right now. So.
You mentioned one with some back issues. Are there any other pending health issues right now that have concerned with the pitchers?
No, there's not that I can think of right now. We put in a pretty extensive prehab to try to prevent any kind of injuries this fall, and we've had really good luck with everybody staying pretty healthy over the fall.
The back issue that you mentioned, is it lower back, upper back? Is it minor?
I think it's sciatic nerve. If I'm
correct. He's had it. It's a bulging disc, and there's created some problems of deterioration in that area, and he's had it since he's 13, and so it's not something that just came up. It's something that he's had his whole life and had to deal with. What we're hoping is it's something he can continue to deal with maintenance rather than surgery. And it could be a surgery where they're in. There's 3 scenarios: no surgery, rehab, should be fine.
How many seasons did he get in at Southern?
One. He redshirted his first year there, and then he played last year not only as a pitcher but as a position player. And he potentially could be one of our starting outfielders. But we really didn't explore that with him until about midway through the fall, and then kind of looked at it and said, well, wow, that's really a good athlete. And that kid could do both for us, but he really wants to focus on pitching because that's probably where his future is. And he's a little undersized at 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", in the draft area, but the arm strength and power, Wagner is 5'11". Mm-hmm. So he's got the capability of being a draft if he stays healthy.
And he's got control and everything that he needs to go with it.
I don't know if he's got control.
But you're going to work on that.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's got a little wildness to him. I mean, he's.
Sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it can be a bad thing just to throw strikes all the time,
right?
Too, especially if you're getting hit. Mm-hmm. But he's a guy. But the other thing is, if for some reason we lose him for a brief time or for the entire spring, it's a deep enough staff where we're going, yeah, that stinks to lose him because he really helps us. But at the same time, it just means one of those guys that has a similar, like King. Zach King, he's just not as far along as him yet.
Right.
Even though maybe talent-wise he might catch up at some point, he's not there yet. And so, we're deep enough to handle this right now.
So you've got great depth on the mound. What about, let's go to the other positions, defensively now.
Well, defensively, it's going to be a good, solid defensive group. It's when you think about defense, it's hard to say they're a better group than any other group.
How many starters are returning?
Well, you have Joseph Paylor, the center fielder, returning. You have Danny Deschamps, left fielder, returning. And you have Michael Page, the third baseman, returning. But you returned 3 sophomores. And that's where we felt, when we started recruiting, it's going to be a rebuilding here in our group of position players. But what happened in the process is that we found a few pretty good Division I transfers, a couple of junior college guys. So you get a Dylan Yeaman out of Neosho County, and he is a right fielder. He's 6'5". He hit 370 with 9 home runs there last year. He has the ability to hit in the middle of the lineup and be a Division I player, and all of a sudden you have a guy in right field that has experience, mm-hmm. and you can't say that we're going to have to endure some problems with him. You've got 3 sophomore outfielders that all have Division I talent or draft talent. That's the good part about this ball club. We get lucky and we get another transfer out of California, Bryce Griffin, and he's a Division I shortstop. And so all of a sudden you got another guy with experience at shortstop. And really, when it comes down to it, the only positions that we don't have maturity in are first base and catching. And really, catching, we have a young man that transferred from Missouri Southern, Josh Schnabel. Though he's a second-year guy, he didn't play there last year. He redshirted. He's pretty mature, and I think he's fully capable to be out there the first day and catch every game all year. And we've got a couple other guys.
Not to mention Bowden.
Well, yeah, true. You got, Bowden took a red shirt last year. It was our 3-hole hitter last year. Hurt his arm and had Tommy John, and he'll be back. And where he's going to end up with us, we don't know yet. He may end up starting the outfield. He may start at first base, and first base is a young position. Cody Riley and Ellis are there, and both those guys are just really young. But Cody Riley's got a chance to be a professional power hitter. So.
Any lingering issues with the Tommy John?
Not so far.
Really?
He's at home now. Finished up the fall. Never, he had some tendonitis that developed because he's going through a throwing program, trying to get the arm back. I talked to him about 2 nights ago. In fact, it's hard to miss him. He just got voted your team captain. But Trevor got voted the team captain by the team the other day, and that's a big honor because obviously that's somebody that they believe in as a player, but also as a person. This guy's got the type work ethic and the leadership ability to take people the right direction. Not all great leadership takes you where you're supposed to be going. He's a good kid, and he'll get us there. But he can play first or play the outfield or DH, and we could actually walk out there day one and put Cody down at second base, and you only have one guy in the entire lineup, Schnabel, catching that hasn't played a true college inning yet. And so we go from thinking we're rebuilding to all we did was reload. And it's a very talented group of guys. We're going to be good offensively. We're going to be good defensively. We'll know more when we get 20, 25 games in the season in the development phase, where they go together. Like Coach said earlier, this has really been probably one of the best groups when it comes down to work ethic and commitment in the weight room and eliminating the distractions of being a college student. When everybody else is going out and doing stuff, guys are staying focused and going to cages and working hard. And this probably has been one of the best groups that I've ever had when it comes down to those things. Any
local talent on this year's team?
Davenport.
Well, Corey Davenport's a transfer. He's a Grove kid. Is
Jared White.
Junior year. Yeah, Jared White will be back too. He's one of the pitchers. Let me finish with Corey. Corey went to Arkansas at a high school. He was the quarterback, phenomenal athlete at Grove, and he had big time surgery on his shoulder. I think 6 or 7 tacks. It's a big time labrum tear, and got that fixed, but he didn't get to play his senior year in baseball. And so he went to Arkansas last year and decided, hey, you know what, I don't know if I'll be able to play. He's come in this fall. He's done very well. He came in a little bit behind, but he's a great athlete, and he'll push Paylor pretty hard because he's a really good runner, and he projects as our starting center fielder next year. And he's got power, and there's some things that he's better than Paylor at. There's some things Paylor's better at than him. He'll play this year for us, but that's him. And then Jared White is. Jared White's gone through 2 surgeries. Jerry came to us as a freshman, pitched as our ace. Pitched as our ace as a sophomore, about a quarter way through the season. Ulnar nerve came out of his elbow. He's out for the year, has surgery. Decides to go to Missouri Southern because that gives him 3 years at a 4-year school because of the redshirt year, rather than come back here. Got there, didn't like some of the stuff that was going on there. Transferred back to us at midterm. Went out and pitched again, had some more problems, went back to the doctor. Doctor said they did the surgery wrong. So they had to go back in and reset his ulnar nerve again because it never attached. So he's out another year, and he's back. Now, where he is right now, we won't know until maybe April. But if he comes back at 100%, he'll be in the top 4 in the rotation. And, he's really good. So it's those 2 guys are the local guys that have done well. Jacoby Martin's out of Galena. Troy Albright's out of Galena. Both those guys, Troy's a left-hander that projects to kind of be a middle relief guy. He's got a chance to get a lot better. He just needs to. He's one of those left-handers that's not quite there, but has the talent maybe to get a lot better. And Jacoby's a catcher slash middle infielder. Just a great kid, hard worker. It's hard to tell where he's going to end up. It's easy to project him as a starter for us next year. You're going, well, easily they're going to start at second base where he's going to catch for us. But typical of a freshman, he put a ton of pressure on himself to do well, and he'll help this ball club this year. But that's really about all the local guys we got this time around.
We talked pitching, we talked defense. You guys want to touch a little bit on offense?
Offensively, it could be the best offensive team we've had. I don't think it's going to be the worst. It's got a lot of depth and about 15 position players that can also play position and hit well. There's enough power in there to, the new bats that just changed this year, the new aluminum bats are going to react a lot more like wood bats now. And so how that's going to affect power numbers, obviously there's going to be a huge decline in those numbers. So speed and defense and pitching is going to be more critical this year than it was the last couple of years.
Why are we using new bats this year?
Well, the NCAA came in a few years back and said, okay, well, even back when Dad was still at Oklahoma State, and they said the bats are getting too hot, and they were doing what's called a exit speed, how hard the ball comes off the bat. Mm-hmm. And at the time, back in the late 80s, when Louisville Slugger was making a huge move with their bats, the exit speed off of a static ball, and that's ball sitting on a tee, and on a swing machine, and everything was in an enclosed environment. Humidity was the same every time. The ball was coming off 113 miles an hour without any effort. That's really fast. Mm-hmm. And so you take someone like Cody Riley, our kid, and he swings it. It may be coming off 140, 150 miles an hour, and there's no third baseman. I mean, there's left fielders taking line drives off the chest, and that's how bad the game had gotten to the technology had passed safety. And so they came in and said, let's do something. And they came in with this CBSR, I can't remember exactly what it was called, where it graded the exit speed of the bat, and it minimized them at 93. When you tested the bat, it couldn't test over 93 miles per hour on the static ball. And they shrunk the diameter from a 2 3/4 inch barrel to 2 5/8 inch barrel, which eliminated some of the trampoline effect of the ball. And that number came down, and when you control that exit speed, you control how far the ball's hit, how hard it's hit a little bit, and guys that really have power still hit home runs. Guys that didn't really have power can't manufacture it with technology. And then what's happened now is, like anything else, technology can be manipulated. And what happened with the composite bats last year or 2 years ago is people started running them over with their trucks, started breaking up the materials on the inside, and all of a sudden the exit speed went from 93 to 103. And nobody knew, except for the people hitting the ball. And then last year's bat, as they dented, and this wasn't even going out and running over with a truck, this was just normal usage. As the bat actually got used, it got better for a brief period. So a 93 mile an hour exit speed, brand new, 2 weeks later after using it in BP, denting it up a little bit, all of a sudden it's going 100 to 103, and the purpose of it was not to manipulate it. The purpose of the rule was to try to save some lives, if that's possible. So NCAA came back in and said, okay, these manipulations are not what we're about. We're going to come in and make you build a bat that can't be changed, that acts more like a wood bat. So the game is more like a wood bat game, and that's what they did. It's not a very good product when it comes down to technological product. They had to regress to a previous idea, and that was make the bat react more like a wood bat, and they've done that.
And this will be the first year we're doing it.
This will be the first year. All of college baseball, I believe high school has one more year with the old bat, and then they have to come to this bat as well. So, and typical of technology, they didn't have a lot of time to get them ready. So some will be good, some will be average, and it'll be a growth experience for all of us. But the power numbers, Cody Riley with the old bat, even last year's model with the 93 exit speed, I would have projected between 18 and 25 home runs for him. If he hits 15, it's going to be a great year. But he has wood bat power.
Yeah.
So he had power before the old bats. So he'll still go out and get his numbers, but they'll be significantly lower than what you would have if you had the higher technology bat.
So the offense is a big question mark then. with
Well,
them.
it's everybody's in the same boat.
Same playing field.
So, people like Eastern, who traditionally recruit speed, might benefit certain days when the wind's blowing in.
Yeah.
And speed and running ability is a lot bigger a factor than defense is and pitching is. It's going to bring pitching and defense more back into the game than the 3-run home run is what it's going to do.
Gotcha. We talked a little bit about Paler and Grambling State, that interest he was drawing. You have anybody else that's drawing interest at the next level?
I think there'll be a lot of our guys.
Yeah.
I mean, both the twins, Evan and Adam Mott, are the two pitchers. Those guys are phenomenal. ORU's, talk to them. New Mexico State's talked to them. South Dakota State's talked to them.
It's champs.
They're gonna draw interest.
Yeah.
Those two young men will, because they're both high 80 right-handers with good breaking balls and projectability. They may have draft in there. And Danny Deschamps, our starting left fielder, is getting a lot of action from all the Division I schools. I say a lot of action. They get a lot of phone calls. Hey, what's he going to do?
Yep.
Is he leaning anywhere? There has been some dialogue regarding draft with him, but I think there's a lot of guys. Bryce Griffin will play Division I baseball, shortstop. Cody Downing will play Division I baseball, which will be our closer last year. He'll kind of platoon this year as a starting position player, maybe a starting pitcher. Yeaman will have a shot to play Division I baseball. He's kind of one-sided. He really wants to go to OU, so we'll see how that turns out. If they have a need, there may be a possibility there. But he's also, he's a high 80s, low 90s right-hander on the mound when he's not in the right field. So I think there's going to be a lot of guys. I don't think we have any sophomores that aren't going to have a chance to play the next level. The question will be, do they take care of the grades? Are the grades going to impact where they can go? And if they've done that, there could be 5 or 6 more Division I signings in this group. So,
All right, Coach. Thank you.
appreciate it.